man is more emotional and woman is more practical. They become extremely good at camouflaging their emotions as well as understanding their emotions as well as handling their emotions, and that process begins from them around 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. For us, it comes much later, approximately almost 5 to 10 years later. So guy in your position is practically very useful for a woman, but just like any human being would not want to disappoint the other person, there is a very thin line of balance on which they are able to hold us and keep us dangling. Her job is not to care about who loves her. Her job is basically programmed by nature that how do I get the best possible seed.
She is ready to explore new options, but I am so emotionally attached to her because like I would not look out for any other options because I have not in a sense committed to her, but maybe like emotionally the connection was so strong, and I would put her up on a pedestal or something like that. So I was not able to enhance my connections with somebody else, and she was ready for it. So that made no sense, like to continue the thing. So I told her the truth, and if something was from her side, then we would look out. But nothing was there, and so I looked at the friend zone video. Then so I was like, okay, I accepted. Somewhere I want her back. But then I looked at the part two, and sir, जो आपने ली है. So I was like, no, no, no. I need to talk to this guy. So get his opinion. What's the matter? तो सर क्या करना चाहिए?
About the girl thing?
Yeah.
Where is the situation now?
So we are not talking anymore.
Fantastic, that's all you have to do.
So what I did is like we were too close. So first of all,
Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me.
okay.
Let me put out a few different tenets of these masculine feminine relations that I have understood after working in this field for 8 plus years, 1,000 plus people probably I have worked with directly, and over 100,000 probably I have helped digitally. These are conservative estimates I'm making. Now we need to understand one thing, that the story which you're telling me, I have dealt with this same story, and it's different variations of all those people by now. So the amount of depth in terms of the work which has been done has exposed patterns to me, whether they are conscious or unconscious patterns of both men and women. So now let's talk about that. When you say, right, that we were extremely close, normally we like to think of man as practical and woman as emotional. Okay, that is how we like to normally think. Now the truth of the matter is, after I have worked with a lot of people in terms of these problems, as well as now whatever has been happening in my life and the way now I look at life, and when I talk about life I mean without humans. All right. What I have started understanding is that man is more emotional and woman is more practical. Now, when man is more emotional, the biggest problem that ends up happening in the world of his relation with any woman he likes or whatever is that he starts falling into a lot of romantic idealism. All right. He starts falling into romantic idealism because the truth is, it is the female which starts making him feel the emotional side of himself. But because man is not used to comprehending, understanding, feeling his own emotional side, which women have a higher advantage because that happens with them via the cycles of the moon and basically the cycles within their own body from a very young age. So they have a lot of extra practice compared to men of handling their internal states as well as camouflaging their internal states from being visible to the outside world. I'm not attaching a negative, positive connotation to any of this. I'm just explaining how life happens to these two different genders. So they become extremely good at camouflaging their emotions as well as understanding their emotions as well as handling their emotions, and that process begins from them around 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. For us, it comes much later, approximately almost 5 to 10 years later, with this side of the man getting emotional about a woman, and that is the first time he starts feeling these feelings. And because before that his emotional spectrum was very limited. He was a kid, he wanted to play, he wanted to break shit, whatever, do whatever all of the young guys would want to do. So the emotional spectrum was, in terms of exposure, very limited for man. Now when this has begun, the man loses all practicality. All right. So please understand that by now I am telling you that I personally feel man is more emotional, woman is actually more practical. So when you say about things like we were extremely close, etc., and even if she has said the same things to you, I'm not saying she's doing this on purpose or other women do this on purpose, but the thing is, women are in a lot of ways more Machiavellian than men. That dark triad, etc., if you know about that, that is built into them. All right, because on one hand they don't want to disappoint you, on the other hand they want to make sure that they're still getting whatever the hell they want to get at a practical level. So guy in your position is practically very useful for a woman, but just like any human being would not want to disappoint the other person, there is a very thin line of balance on which they are able to hold us and keep us dangling. Do you get it? And we remain dangling over there. So man is more emotional, woman is more practical in that sense. That is why even to have advancement in terms of your relationship with a woman, it is more important for you to be operating in the practical rather than the emotional. Because emotionally, let's say your heart is bursting with love for a lady, she will not care. Her job is not to care about who loves her. Her job is basically programmed by nature that how do I get the best possible seed? Because they have limited chances at reproduction. We have innumerable chances at reproduction. And I've explained this in some of my oldest videos around sexual economics and stuff like that, because they get 400 to 500 eggs in a lifetime. That is the number of chances they have to reproduce. We produce 400 to 500 plus million sperm cells in like very, very short quantities of time, such as a day and this and that. All right. So you have to understand that they are from a very deep firmware level of encoding already operating on getting the best possible, while still somehow keeping whoever is trying for them as backup, as ways to keep their emotional health good in terms of I do get attention and I do get, confidence because somebody likes me, etc., etc., etc. For them also, it's a very hard world, especially with the digitization of it's a very hard world for women also, because now they are getting attention at a scale which they have not had practice to handle. All right. And the problem is that the nature of that attention is actually very superficial, because again it is hypersexualization of the environment via digitization of media, communications, everything. And because of that, women themselves are not able to make the choice or handle all of this. And that is why you're seeing everything change in society, such as the timing of marriages, the age at which people used to get married before versus now. And the list just goes on in a bunch of different ways. There is an anthropological effect on humanity because of the people inventing technology are not inventing technology for the benefit of humans. They're inventing it mostly for the enslavement of humans in different ways. All right.